Hello! Guys, if it isn't obvious already, I really do miss the World Cup. I'm sure you all do too. We've covered a lot of it on the channel. But now, it's time to move on. With the new calendar year incoming, we must explore the potential horizons of all of these national teams. And I thought, to close off 2022, it would be a good idea to talk about my top 10 national teams that I'll be paying attention to in 2023. Now, facts are facts. The World Cup is one of, if not the biggest sporting event in history. It's going to be hard to top that. But there's a lot of other competitions we have to look forward to. We've got the Nations League finals, Euro 2024 qualifiers, the CONCACAF Gold Cup, the AFC Asia Cup, the AFCON qualifiers, the list goes on. So in this video, I'm going to try to give you all my list and be as unbiased as possible. So I'm not going to be talking about Croatia. I'm not going to be talking about Serbia, as I think I've done my fair share of hyping them up, and that aging very terribly. And who knows, this video can age terribly as well. I actually did this video last year in 2 separate parts, and some of the countries that I mentioned did not do well. Serbia was a massive example, Algeria was another, but I did make a solid call that we will be seeing some spark from Morocco this year. So right before the year starts, this obviously could change, but here is my top 10 national teams to watch in 2023. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is obviously going to be different for everybody, but these are the sides that I'm expecting to see some exciting football from. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. Let's try to hit 1,500 likes. But before I get into my list, let's take a quick look at our sponsor, OneFootball. OneFootball is the perfect free application you can download on your phone, on iOS or Android, in order to receive the latest football news from any league or competition. Instead of Googling everything over and over again, the app allows you to be way more organized with keeping up to date. All in one place, you can check the latest scores, player ratings, and statistics across any league or year, and get all the latest instant news. You can also add filters to the news you're receiving, so it's either tournament or team specific. And if you want even more instant updates, you can favorite certain teams you wish to receive notifications for. One of my favorite new features, though, is watching selected leagues all across the world live through the application. I highly recommend you get this app as it's free, easy to use, and you'll be one of the first people up to date on everything football related. Go download it now, link in the description below. Let's get cracking with the list now, starting off at number 10. Don't click off this video, come on, let me explain myself. I've gone for Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, it seemed like, was one of the easiest sides to write off at the World Cup. They were in a doable group, yet everyone was expecting them to finish 4th. Which they did, but not many people expected them to put such a great fight. First of all, they shocked the world, beating the World Cup champions at the beginning 2-1, with a glorious goal from their best player, AAvfx. They went on to lose to Poland and Mexico straight after that, but you can't deny they put off some very good fights in both matches. For majority of the match actually against Poland, they looked to be the better side. They had a total of 65% possession, and a lot of their shots were denied from a goalkeeper who had a phenomenal tournament, Szczesny. Something I used to criticize about this side is that they weren't clinical enough, and unfortunately that statement lived up to the hype here, but you gotta say they put off a valiant effort, getting some crazy shots in this match. Against Mexico, yes, they did lose, but that last-minute goal from AAvfx essentially sealed the deal for Mexico's future in this World Cup, where they left in the group stage, just like Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia at this World Cup have shown us that they are such a high-energy side, and they can be very unpredictable. The Asia World Cup qualifiers, but Saudi Arabia prior to all of this also finished top of their group, over the likes of Japan and Australia, who also told fantastic stories at this World Cup. Their manager from France, Hervé Renard, has done a fantastic job revolutionizing this side. Not only has he brought a lot more energy to this side, he's also made the defense so much more compact. In the numerous amount of friendlies that they've played this year, the most they have conceded was 1 goal. And their heftiest defeats in 2022 were both 2-0 results, against Japan in the final stretch of the World Cup qualifiers, and against Poland at the World Cup, the match I was just talking about. Saudi Arabia are going to go into this year with a lot of confidence, as even though they got knocked out to 4th place, to me, they were one of the best 4th place teams at the World Cup. And now their eyes will be on the AFC Asian Cup, which they've already won 3 times, but haven't won since 1996. The manager is doing a wonderful job unifying these extremely underrated players. I would watch out for Saudi Arabia in 2023. Now let's switch up regions of the world. Let's go to Europe now. The next team I want to be talking about today is Hungary. We haven't been able to see Hungary at this World Cup, as unfortunately during the qualifiers last year, they had a bit of a dip in form, despite in recent times getting some very impressive results. This side is challenged so much. They were very unfortunate to be placed in the Euro group that they were in 2020, with Portugal, France, and Germany. Yes, they finished 4th, but just like Saudi Arabia, it really broke down to that final match day. Hungary put up a fantastic fight in that competition. And then in the Nations League as well, they were in the group of death with Italy, England, and Germany. Everyone expected them to finish dead last, and the only team they failed to beat was Italy, which resulted in them finishing 2nd place, just 1 point behind Italy. They beat England twice, one of the times beating 4-0 as well. And although yes, this side did miss out on the World Cup, whenever the Euros come around, this side puts up a show. Even in Euro 2016, who would have thought they'd top their group over Portugal? Remember that thriller of the final matchup between the two? And based on how this side's been performing lately, this Euro qualifier group looks very doable for them. But if Szoboszlai does not get injured, we could see some fantastic moments from him once again. Can't forget about that free kick against Turkey. Not to mention, Roland Salai has been a fantastic forward option for them. Yeah, this has got to be one of the most underrated teams in Europe. I hope I don't jinx them now, because I think a lot of people are actually favoring them to qualify for the Euros. Now for the next team I'm talking about, I might be simple with this one. It's the United States of America. I've bashed on this side a lot due to their manager Greg Berhalter, who at the moment is still in charge of the national team. There are rumors that he should be leaving soon, but nothing is confirmed yet. Regardless if he does or not, I thought that he would be the reason why the USA would not be able to make it out of their group, but they did, because of the amazing talent this side possesses. In my opinion, with the talent pool they have, this is the best squad in CONCACAF. And the CONCACAF Gold Cup will be played in the United States this year. There are obviously going to be a lot of other exciting sides to watch at this tournament, but the United States at the World Cup, even with a manager that caused problems in the dressing room, did the best out of the CONCACAF nations. Round of 16s only, but they faced one of the best sides, if not the best side in Europe, Netherlands. They have so many players that will absolutely blossom within 4 years for the next World Cup, which they will be co-hosts for. So this year, if you pay attention to the Gold Cup, you will be seeing this talent progress some more and evolve into the beast that actually very much can have a deep run in the next World Cup. Not to mention, the CONCACAF Nations League is still in progress, and the USA are still in massive contention to play in those finals, which take place in June. So the United States have 2 golden opportunities to lift silverware in 2023 once again. Now let's go back to Asia, a side many people were impressed with in 2022. Japan. Japan have shocked the world, getting 1st place in their very difficult group. They topped Germany, Spain, and Costa Rica. They did lose to Costa Rica, surprisingly, but they beat both Germany and Spain with the scoreline of 2-1. This side played some of the most exquisite counter-attacking football at the World Cup, and they have so many options in the attack that work wonderfully for their system. Mitoma on Brighton, Maeda from Celtic surprised me at the World Cup, I'll be honest. Kubo, Ito, Daichi Kamada, Minamino. This side has let everyone jaw-dropped in the group stage at the World Cup, which made so many people root for them in the round of 16s against Croatia. I get it. Unfortunately, they were heartbroken there, and they still put off a wonderful fight. Looked like the better side in the first half, but couldn't carry over and lost on penalties. They really were in fantastic form in 2022. Did have some random slips, but majority wins. And the fact they did it against 2 European giants, shout out to Japan. Another reason to back them as favorites for the AFC Asian Cup is because they are the most successful side in this competition. They've already won it 4 times. The last time they did was in 2011 though. They're going to look to grab some silverware this year. The World Cup definitely left them in a confidence boost. At least I hope so. Best of luck to Japan. Now, number 6, this might shock a lot of you, but I have chosen Kosovo. Kosovo is the newest recognized country from UEFA. They became a full member in 2016. Since then, apart from the Nations League, if you want to even count that, they haven't participated in any major competition for Europe or the world, but they have had some very interesting displays within the past 6 years. Their World Cup qualifier campaign was a disaster, but prior to that, they actually put off a really good fight in the Euro 2020 qualifiers. They fell short to 3rd, but look at that point gap between 3rd and 4th place over Bulgaria and Montenegro. And that group was going to be difficult for them. England, for one, is one of the best sides in Europe, and Czech Republic went on to have a fantastic tournament in the Euros themselves. Their toughest opponent without a doubt will be Switzerland, who look like favorites to top this group. But hey, in a friendly in 2022, Kosovo were able to beat them 1-1. Their other opponents though, Romania, Israel, Belarus, and Andorra, should not be underestimated, but these are all sides Kosovo can handle. Romania randomly have those sparks of joy, but they are extremely inconsistent. Israel do have those boastful moments as well. They could easily qualify for this tournament themselves. This is going to be my early prediction, and I could change it. I'm not saying Kosovo will be guaranteed to qualify for their first ever Euro tournament, but I think it's going to be a fight for second place between them and Israel. Romania might bump into the equation here and there, but I'm going to say it's between Kosovo and Israel for now. Kosovo in their Nations League group finished second place. They just couldn't beat Greece. They won once to Northern Ireland and lost to them as well, but they beat Cyprus twice, one of them with a massive scoreline of 5-1. Also in their friendlies, they got a massive result against Burkina Faso 5-0. This side, regardless or not if they qualify for the Euros at the end, along the way in these qualifiers, they are going to have some very interesting results going their way. It's a bold take, and it's going to catch a lot of you off guard, but this might be the ultimate underdog story in these Euro qualifiers. Next up at number 5, it's a basic answer, but I think it's one most of us can get behind. Morocco. I'm putting them in my list again, as Morocco made it to the World Cup semifinals. That's already one thing to show off for, obviously, and I really think they're going to continue this momentum in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. They aren't in the most challenging group. South Africa will be a good fight. They already look like favorites to top the group, as they already did in the World Cup, in one of the toughest groups at the tournament. Morocco made a ballsy decision in 2022 to sack their manager, Halilhodžić, who is known to be a fantastic manager, but also one that splits apart the dressing room. He's had that history for many other nations he managed, and it happened with Morocco as well. In came Regragui, who played a much more free system for Morocco, let the creativity spark through this tournament. They get a lot of credit for their incredible defensive efforts. With loads of clean sheets at this tournament, it was obviously impressive. But I still think we got to give credit to that free attack that very much excelled. They also got a lot of young talent that can very much progress in the future, like Onahi, who had an incredible tournament. I feel like not many people are talking about him. So even though their fixtures are not going to be as thrilling as the World Cup, I would still keep a lookout for this side, as at the moment, they look like Africa Cup of Nations favorites, which that tournament will not start until the beginning of 2024, but I would definitely keep track of these qualifiers and see how well they can progress, as they just have so much talent to back them up, and summoning Regragui and getting rid of Halilhodžić ended up paying off massively for this country. Now at number 4, I'm going to put another African country. I have gone for Ghana. Now Ghana, unfortunately, were a bit sloppy in this World Cup, but they still were a very energetic side. They finished last place, but they still scored a decent amount of goals in the tournament. And we got to keep in mind, this side was gambling themselves, as they appointed so many new players that were dual citizens right before the tournament, which definitely increased the talent on this side, but maybe they just didn't have enough practice to gel together and play well. But now they're going to have that time throughout this year, and it's going to be interesting to see how they progress. They did have some shocking history last year, finishing last place in the Africa Cup of Nations, finishing last place at this World Cup. But based on how this side qualified for the World Cup at the end, breaking it down against Nigeria, to appointing all these new players, it's going to be exciting to see how they can evolve within this year. All right, the last 3 teams now. Spoiler, they're all from Europe. Let's start off with number 3. I have gone for Portugal. This side at the moment has an incredible generation of players. And this incredible generation were able to get some incredible scorelines. In the World Cup, we saw them beat Switzerland 6-1 in the round of 16s. In the Nations League, we saw them beat Czech Republic 4-0. This side, when they click, just goes off. And it should be happening a lot more with the quality they have. But sometimes it seemed to be halted due to now their former manager, Santos. I talked about him a lot and saying he was going to stop this national team from winning more silverware. He was great for Euro 2016, but now it's time to move on. And Portugal, after this World Cup, have decided to do so after getting knocked out to Morocco. At the moment of this recording, from my knowledge, they haven't appointed anybody new yet. We obviously still got to wait on that. I am seeing a lot of rumors about Mourinho. I don't know how true that is, to be honest, but I have a feeling that they're going to do a good job selecting their new manager, because they don't want to waste this incredible crop of players. Even with Ronaldo now going to Saudi Arabia, looks like that's been confirmed now, which might halt him on being on the national team in the future, as he started to get benched towards the end of their World Cup campaign. I think they have so much quality that they don't even really need to rely on him anymore. I mean, Ramos seemed like an incredible replacement after he demolished Switzerland, grabbing a hat-trick in that match. Portugal's group in the Euro qualifiers looks insanely doable. No disrespect to any of those teams, but it will be the perfect test to see how well they can electrify this squad. Now at number 2, I have chosen Georgia. Georgia's group in the Euro qualifiers looks difficult. They're coming up against Spain, obviously. That's the best team on paper in this group. But then they got Norway and Scotland as well. That will be tough to face. However, looking at how this side performed in 2022, there's no reason why they should stop their confidence now. They finished first in their Nations League group by an outstanding margin. 5 wins and 1 draw, with some absolute insane scorelines. It's also when many people start to notice their best forward, Kvicha. I'm sure part of those performances also resulted in his transfer to Napoli last year. And what a transfer that was. At the moment, he has 13 direct goal contributions in 12 matches in the Serie A. Lots of other underrated players to go on about as well. Their captain, I gotta say, is remarkable. The center back Kasia, who plays on Slovan Bratislava. Not only did he captain his side to first place in the Nations League, he also got first place with Slovan Bratislava in their Nations League group. Their goalkeeper, Marmardashvili, has had an absolute market price jump as he has been doing wonderfully for Valencia. Although in terms of the forwards, Kvicha seems to be the star for the national team, they got a few other options that are close to his age as well that are very much under the radar. This group will be tough without a doubt. Scotland already qualified for the last Euros. Norway made it to the playoffs but failed there, and they're going to want to look for revenge as they always seem to be falling short, even with the likes of Erling Haaland. But Georgia 100% has potential to upset many of these teams, potentially even Spain. So I can't wait to see what this side is made of in 2023. And finally, the last team we're looking at, it might be a basic answer, but I have gone for Netherlands. Yes, they got knocked down in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It's nothing to really be ashamed for, as besides that match, they were undefeated in 2022. They are obviously looking like amongst the favorites to qualify for Euro 2024, as it will be an interesting battle to see what they can do against France head-to-head. This squad also has an incredible generational talent. On paper, they look to have some of the best defenders in the world. But still, even the attack, you got the likes of Cody Gakpo, who has just signed for Liverpool. And what a signing that is. He was one of the most exciting players to watch at the World Cup for Netherlands and has had incredible numbers for PSV. Just like Portugal, they are going to be appointing a new manager. And at the moment, we have no idea who it's going to be. I think that's the biggest fear for the Dutch right now, if they can appoint a solid manager that can continue this incredible form. With the incredible quality on the pitch that they have, though, I would not be too worried. I know the last Euros is scarring a lot of the Dutch as they got knocked out in the round of 16s to the Czech Republic. But I think this year the Dutch should continue their optimism. Netherlands are also amongst the 4 European nations that have made it to the Nations League finals. They're joined with Croatia, Italy, and Spain. It's still unconfirmed which sides will be facing each other in the semi-final stage, and I'm obviously rooting for Croatia, but based on Netherlands' form right now, to me, they're looking like favorites to win that trophy. There's so many national teams to talk about still, even with the World Cup over. Very excited for international football in 2023. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Which national teams are you most excited to see, apart from maybe your nation? Thank you all for making it to the end. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Laku noć.